All right, so we're at the driveway, and that's the front line. So you'll notice that the property line and the road don't match. You know, it's like a big pie piece up here in the front. So the owners across the way have I think the 10 acres or 5 acres that comes across the road and kind of goes in a pie shape across here. Never had them uh, talk to me about it. Eileen, she lives across the way. She's a wonderful gal. Um, but I just so you have a visualization when you look at the as built. This is the front marker by the driveway. We're actually going to walk down the road, and I'm going to show you now the backside markers. Then you will have an eyes on everything. It's a good little clip down here. The largest section, I think, is really of good open land is for you is all of this stuff, all this land in the front, and all this land um, literally on the west side of the property. It's a huge area, and there's so much. I had actually had visions of building trail system through there. There's some great gullies in there and some big rocks, and actually putting some benches out there. But your line goes, if you can see the cabin up in there. Your line comes all the way down here, all the way down the road. And you'll see how the marker that I just showed you back at the driveway is close to the road. Well, the other end of the marker on the front side of the cabin property actually goes, it 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 V's out away from the road. This little shot of the mountains up there. So this is the next door neighbor in the blue house. And here's where I'm turning in to show you the other edge of the front and then where it goes to the back. All right, so this is the main marker here. This is the other edge of the front. So you can see how it sits kind of at an angle because see how far we are from the road. But this is a big marker right here. And then this heads straight back along the power line area. All of this in here is all cabin property. You can see in the distance up there the orange marker. I use that just as sort of a sight point because your line runs, the property line runs along that. So from here to the far marker all the way down is all cabin. Now, this is not the back corner of the property. So your property continues to go, and I will show you where it goes. Bushes are pretty grown up here today. So I'm going past towards the creek. You can hear the creek as I get closer. And you're not going to believe this. Okay, you can see the creek down there again. And you can see the marker right there on the tree and how that goes down the power line. Now, go across the creek. So now you're on the other side. And keep going. And keep going. And keep going. All the way up there, you can see the marker. So your property line literally rides that high on the side of the mountain on the other side. I've often thought about making paths up there and having sitting spots over the creek. You can see the creek is a pretty good distance down there. I don't want to get too close. So I'll slip or something because I'm not paying attention. All right, and then I've let this grow up a little bit just because it was used a lot by people next door that used to be here a long time ago. Nobody's there now. Chuck Gearwig, the guy that plows, bought this house that his daughter, who doesn't live here, she's a missionary, but when she is here, she stays there. And sometimes I think he has it on VRBO, but Chuck is next door over here. He's got that property. He's one of the original homesteaders. He bought this property, and he's the one that does all the plowing that I'll hook you up with. But right here is a little pathway back to the cabin. Like I said, I've let this grow up a little bit because I was trying to discourage people. When sometimes it gets really busy in the summertime, you'll have four-wheelers that'll kind of run up through here. But this is a path straight back to the cabin. And here, you can see the cabin right there. Here is another really nice place for the creek that I really like. And again, as I said, all of this land up here is all yours. This is another area of the creek here that I thought a lot about building this area out. I was going to actually considering building a bridge over this area to sit right next to the cabin. I mean, the cabin is just through the woods there. We continue down this path. We come out right by the treehouse. And there we are. looking back, that's the path. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of the property lines. I think that's the hardest part, is walking the whole property line. But you have a good chunk of land. I will make a comment. I'll come back to this one point here and work my way around. Make a comment as to what plans I had. In your stack of manuals, you'll see a design that I had worked up to take this deck and actually build another interim deck down, and then finally a deck to wrap around the spa here, so that you had yet another living space sort of halfway down, and then that would come down into the final deck, which would wrap the spa. The other idea was a very large lean-to, starting on this side and going across to the edge. Very big, 2-story with a upper and a lower level, with then the slant roof going off that way, facing the cabin as a dry, sort of a dry facility, so there wouldn't be any bathrooms or anything like that, but it potentially could have, I was thinking of the upper area being like an upper pool room, game room area. The lower then would, of course, be garages for toys. I actually had a 3-car design where I was going to put, our cars plus toys, boats, 4x4s, things like that. But another thing I was thinking then underneath, I'm sorry to continue that thought, that was going to go straight out. The bottom was going to go straight out, and this ground goes down. So at the back end, on the south side, then it would be above ground, and it was going to be above ground probably about 8 feet all the way across the backside. I was going to put the sides off on that and make that the pens for the goats. And then the intention was just to go all the way around the property out here with the fence line, to let the bigger animals, the goats and stuff, run through. There's plenty of room to do it. And I had all the big cottonwoods cleared out of here. I left the evergreen, so you can see the growth has been coming up here. But I mean, honestly, it's not bad. It wouldn't take anything to knock it down. I did it last year, beginning of last year, or year before. All right, so picking up from the spot we went down the driveway, I'll pick up right here in the next part.